looking first at some of my sketches. These are preliminary sketches, but the central idea has held all the way through. We take a little sliver of the courant that we dare to attempt to place on stage to kind of emulate nature. So it's a 5 metre by 9 metre ground area that's framed in this architectural product, and it's literally framed. It's a cuboid that hovers above this space. So you have a kind of forensic naturalism on the ground that the actors can clamber around, and the puppeteers. But this is me riffing on those ideas of what we might do with that framing. So the different worlds that we might be able to reside in, and all as per Tom's text. So sometimes we need to be, Fingerbone and Stormboy, for example, meet at the midden in the needle grass, or we need to be at the sanctuary to discover the pelican eggs. We need to be at the lookout post at various points. If you have a look at the model, we arrived at a world whereby a downstage smother could come in, a black curtain very close to the audience at the front edge of that stage, which would allow us to then fly out, so to take out the big white projection surface, move the dune. It's a truck, it's on wheels, and beneath it there is a shiny, shiny tarquette, it's called. It's like a vinyl, like a dance floor, but shiny enough, hopefully, to also read as water. And that gives us any activity that's meant to be happening on the inland lakes, those lagoons. And you can see this first photograph has the upstage shack on the dune. The next photograph has a downstage shack. So there are a couple. I mean, they're not identical at all. They're mirrored versions of one another in a way, but they have different features for different scenes. And here is an image of the dunes with no shacks at all. The shacks move on and off stage through big doors. We don't see any of these moves. They don't happen live until the very end of the piece. You'll also see these apertures that are up high. This is for Matt Scott to achieve some lighting. I've made it very hard for him to punch any light through because I've put a ceiling and walls in his space. This final image is that tarquette floor. So this is the lagoon, this sanctuary. These are for some pretty beautiful little poignant moments between Stormboy and Fingerbone in particular. Okay, technical specs, very briefly, let's run through. This is an image of the false proscenium. So behind the in situ proscenium of the Sumner Theatre, I've built this black Alucobond proscenium to shrink down our performance space. And here, this is a side projection, a side view of our theatre space entirely. If you look closest to the audience, which is downstage, you'll be able to see our false proscenium. Then a little further upstage, you can see our Alucobond box. And this is a plan view of the dune in situ in both its upstage and downstage position. This is because it has to live somewhere when it's out of view. So when it's out of view, of course, and we're looking at the sanctuary or at that watery surface, it's living at the back of the stage. The treatments relates to the kind of painting detail I would like, the history I'd like to imbue on these various surfaces. And in this case, all of these cladding references and the roofing reference are for the scenic painting team here at MTC. Nothing is new in this world. It should all feel like it's been thrown together years before. In some cases, such as the lookout post, that would have been put there by Parks many, many years before, and the rust is absolutely caked on. And at some point, Sam and I and others would create a storyboard before going into the rehearsal room, fully aware that we'll change our mind when we have the actors with us contributing and the puppeteers. But this was an early draft as to what we might see where.